How you doing, Robert? The hell is that? Hey. Oh well, time to change the head. Got a broken head on the snare, on the bottom, the resonator side. That's why it sounds like that. Hear it? The skin is, it broke. Shit, I think. Yep, it's broken. Ever happened to you, Robert? The resonator head on the snare? Hear it? But it still sounds pretty good. So I mean, I have a shitload of them. I have to change it later. But that's okay. It's a pain in the ass to do that head. Okay, solo number 1. Did you print out the Charlie Wilcoxon book? You know, I have Seth and Stacy coming here Friday afternoon. And they're going to stay until Sunday afternoon. That's going to be very interesting. I'm going to help them out. And that's where, when they come to see me here, and when they do something like this, it all kind of puts it all together. And I can see what their bad habit. Well, maybe I kept it too tight, which is a possibility, or it's actually a very old head, so I have to change it. The head, it's plastic, so the head does shrink and it expands and contracts from the weather. They say plastic doesn't do that, but it does. So when it contracts, I tighten it, and then it expands. And it was after a period of time, I have it too tight, and then it cracked. But that's okay. All right, there's another person watching, but they're not in the chat. Now again, if I get booted, it's been better. I don't know why. Maybe it's because everybody's wearing a mask and social distancing or whatever. Or because there's not that many people on YouTube now. They're doing stuff outside. Things have opened up a little bit, so they're doing something different. How you doing, Stacy? I just got your video. I didn't open it up yet, but I will after the lesson. I was telling Robert I have to change the resonator head on my snare. It's ripped, so I have to change it. But I have maybe 5 or 6 different snares around here. I love this snare. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so we're going to work at it at Charlie Wilcoxon 150 rudimental solos. All right, number 1 and number 2. So let's go to number 1. And I have a few questions before I start teaching it. There's quite a few different rudiments in solo number 1. What I need for everybody here that's listening right now is to name 3 rudiments they see. Or 4, make it 4. Can we do that, gentlemen? Ladies? So turn to the solo number 1 and name 3 or 4 rudiments. And we'll break them down. And I'm going to show you how to take something like this. You know, it's a march, but we're not going to play it. We're going to learn it as a march first. We're going to understand the sticking, what's occurring rudimentally, and then we're going to try to make it happen as a funk pattern. We'll try. So I'm waiting on everybody's responses. There's other people here watching, but they're not in the chat. We need 3 more people in this chat before I continue. All right, solo number 1, the 150 rudimental solos. Name 3 rudiments that you see there. Is that what you're asking me, Robert? That's the question I asked. Well, you have the book, Stacy. I mean, I sent it to you. Oh, goodness. All right, we're going to have an open lesson tonight then. You don't have the book handy or at all. You do have it. I sent you Charlie Wilcoxon's 150 Rudimental Solos. I sent it to everybody, the whole book in PDF formation. All right, if you can't, you don't have it, you don't have it. John, where you been, man? I'm glad you came. You should frequent this a little bit more. Okay? Now, I'm glad that you're here so I could tell you in the month of July and August, instead of 4 times a week, we're going to 2 days, or 2 times a week, 2 days a week rather. 2 1 p.m. lessons and 2 7 p.m. lessons. All right? All right, so don't worry about it. Oh, man, sorry to hear that. You're okay, I guess. Jeez. Wow. How you doing, Paul? All right, next lesson, if it's possible, or Wednesday's lesson, have the book, okay? That's the 150 Rudimental Solos. John, that's 1 single stroke. But we're not going to do that right now, Bob, because Stacy don't have the book. Yes, there are single strokes. Okay, well, did you hear what I just said about July and August? But that's okay, you know, it's only going to be 2 times a week. You have the book. Okay. Robert has it, Paul has it, Stacy, you're the only one. All right. Let's, first off, Mr. Green here, he's, I believe, a graduate student, or you've graduated already from college, a music major. Is that correct? And if that's correct, let's play some jazz. Tell me, Mr. Green, when you learn how to play dang, chang, dang, chang, the straight ahead jazz time, what books did you work from other than Jim Chapin? I mean, Jim Chapin when he first published the book, was a great book because of the visuals or the graphics, but the book don't really swing, okay? All right. Hello, Hoist, how are you? All right, so you have a degree. All right, that's good. Now, you studied jazz, correct? Or you play jazz, you play rock, R&B or funk or cover tunes or whatever it is. All right. My question to you, Mr. Green, is when you were learning how to play this, what you read the syncopation book. Well, that's a good one because the syncopation does swing. But I use the syncopation as well to do that. Go walk the dog. Go walk the dog. Go walk the dog. Ha! Okay, that's another one. All right, let's work on. Let's talk about that. I mean, there's so many different things. Everybody has their approach. Like Mr. Joe Shields sent me a video from this gentleman from, I think he's from England. And, you know, the guy's a good drummer, but I don't agree with his approach, nor do I agree the way he teaches it. But he still plays well. So I guess if it worked for him, that's cool. Something like that wouldn't work for me. Go walk the dog. Go walk the dog. All right, well, when I teach that, and Paul, this one here, and Robert and Stacy, we're not going to do the syncopation book. I have it on the bottom here. I'll get to that perhaps in the course of the lesson. Again, if I get booted, give me 5 minutes and I'll be back, okay? What we do, we go to a triplet. And I think of, and we're talking about a straight ahead jazz pattern. We're not talking about open time or whatever. We're talking about straight ahead jazz. And I think of a triplet. And I have a technique that I learned actually from Joe Morello. When I was playing a jazz pattern, it sounded like a march. How you doing, Jimmy? But he straightened that out. If you're dropping, you're in 4/4 time, you're dropping 4 quarter notes. Now, you guys can't see my ride cymbal, huh? And I can't change the camera. How about here? Maybe, no, here, no. All right, I gotta fix that. But anyway, you can see from the stick height, right? You see where my stick is? I'm about 3 or 4 inches off the ride cymbal. Now, when I count 4 quarter notes, I'm going to make the sound on the cymbal sound the same. I'm starting at this position and I'm ending in this position. 1, 2, 3, 4. That gives me a pulse. 2, 3, 4. Bang. 2, 3, 4. Now, when I play the straight ahead jazz time, I go into a triplet. I think triplets. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Always having those 4 quarter notes sounding the same. So what I add is this. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and... You see that? But I'm saying free stroke, down, a free stroke, down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Walk the dog. I don't know, I can't feel it in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now I'm thinking 8th note triplets. And I say, okay. The norm is to play the bass drum 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 on the floor, and hi-hat 2 and 4. 1. Now I'm not pounding the bass drum, I'm feathering the bass drum, so my right hand, my right foot, and my hi-hat sound like one note. You see that? Now this is a straight ahead time. Bass drum's on all 4. Now I want to open that up. I want to create some answer call or whatever you want to do, independence from the bass drum to the snare drum. So the first thing I do is I open up the stick control book. Inga bunga, that book haunts you. And I say, okay. I look at the line, and it's 1 and 3 and 4 and. So I said, let me swing the line or play it syncopated. 1 and 2 and 3. Everybody follow me so far? Paint a brush. How you doing, old dog? All right, we understand that. We're going to swing it. So if I play it on a snare drum, I'm going to have 1 and 2 and 3. So I say, okay, let me substitute that. Instead of me playing my right hand on the snare, I'm going to use my bass drum for the right hand R part. 1. So actually, I'm thinking 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So I'm going to play this. 3, 4, 1, and then I'm going to play that pattern between my bass drum and my left hand. See that? A little faster. But I'm always maintaining that right hand, free stroke, down, up, free stroke. Now that's a straight ahead time. Now when I'm playing a tune, I'm not thinking that. This is an exercise. It's a mechanical thing showing you how to control that bass drum, control the left hand against the jazz pattern. When I'm playing a tune, I'm not thinking of that because I've done it so much, it's there. It's at my leisure, my command to play what I hear because I have the facility to do that. I've developed enough technique. So I think of when I play a tune, A, B, A, if it's a 32 measure tune, and I could play anything I want with the right hand, anything I want with the left hand, anything I want with the right hand and the left foot. But it takes a lot of coordination while I'm humming the melody. Now that's, ouch. That's an open concept. That's a musical concept. What you're learning is a mechanical. John Ramsey video from Berkeley. I know John Ramsey. John Ramsey's a great drummer. Okay? But anyway, this is one of many, many different ways to do the stick control book. For example, if I'm just playing, and it's important that you do this. Maintain that. We're not playing like 9,000 miles an hour. We're just nice and easy. We're controlling it. 1 and 2 and 3. We do line 5 with that same concept. We understand that so far. I got to change this snare head, man. I busted my snare drum on the bottom. The bottom head, the resonator head, it's got a rip in it. So we're playing 1, 2, 3, 4. This is line. Let's play line 3. 2 rights, 2 lefts. Okay, now, if I take, and these are all the different ways that you guys learned so far, substituting, playing the stick control book like I just did, 1, 2, 3, 4, line 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now, we did it with triplet fill-ins. If you remember, we're thinking of the line swung 1 and 2 and 3. We're eliminating the right hand, so we're going to have 1 and left hand rather. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and we're going to fill in with the left hand, the balance of the triplet. So I'm just playing the rights on line 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go to line 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and You see where I'm getting that from, gentlemen? Now, what I do, next move, once I get that on a one surface, I do the substitution thing. If I'm playing this, against the jazz time. Line 2, instead of this, we're going to play the jazz time. Line 3. There's a million different ways. The thing is to control what you do and do it slowly. Okay? Mr. Green, is that things that you learned from Mr. Ramsey? From his book? Which book you have? The John Ramsey book. Is that the one you have? Is the Alan Dawson Rudimental Ritual? You ever do that one? That one is tough. Tough. But there's so many different ways to understand. Anybody have any questions on that, Paul? It seems like all school to you, huh, Paul? This is very difficult. You have a funk application to show me. Of what? What do you have a funk application? With what? We go through all of the time functions from, of course he was. Anybody who went to Berkeley, Mr. John Ramsey, Gary Shafee, they all come from the Alan Dawson School. The Alan Dawson School is the same thing as the Morello School. You know? Yeah, well, that's not a funk thing. That's you know, the 8 bars and 8 bars is AA. You know, and yeah, we do things like that. We'll do 8 bars of time, okay, and we'll do 8 bars of stick control work, or 8 measures. All right, like for example here, let's do on one surface I'm talking about. So let's take 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1. 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4. Now, I'm not going to do the exercise. I can go 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. Stuff like that. That's a great thing to do. I mean, I'm just mixing it up a little bit. But the actual purpose of that is to feel, all right, is to feel the 8 measure increments. All right, the 8 measure increments is the sections of tunes, a 32 bar tune. A, B, A. That's 32 measures. So you take A, playing time. A, you're doing triplets. What is this here? That's not what I'm referencing. I meant triplets with accents. Oh, all right. Well, when you say triplets with accents, are you talking about alternating strokes? Line 1, 2, 3, 4. Line 3, 2, 1, and nothing. Is that what you're talking about, John? I'm not certain if that's line 3 would be, line 3 would be. Line 4, 5, is that what you're referring to, John? John happens to be an accomplished player, and I have the utmost. Well, I have the utmost respect for everybody here. But it's a lot of fun because he understands the things that I'm referencing from, like the John Ramsey book, the Rudimental Ritual, which you guys haven't been exposed to yet. And you've been working on which exercise, Paul? Playing 8 measures of time and doing an 8-measure increment on the stick control book. Is that what you meant, Mr. John Green? And that's not a funk exercise. See, an exercise like that, you're playing the jazz time, 8 measures. And then you're going to play in triplets, for example, line 1. Okay? Alternating triplets with the accent for 8 measures. So that gives you the A. Then you play time again, that's the B. And then you play another for 8 measures. Then you got to play another 8 measures, which is the A again. Is that what you meant, John? We've done that in the past on this site. That's good insight, and I'm glad that you came tonight because I did want to work on Charlie Wilcoxon's 150 rudimental drum solos and work them out on one surface with the levels and as a march, because that's what it's presented as, and then develop it into a funk pattern on the set using the rudiments. You know, you get these guys, field drumming, the rudimental drumming, the field drumming, and playing on a drum set is like night and day, man. 2 different animals, a different thing altogether. I've watched some of those drum corps guys play that snare drum, man. Unbelievable chops. You put them on a drum set, it sounds the same. They sound like they're marching. That's filling in the triplets. Yeah, that's right. That's a good exercise. There's a lot. That's the filling in of the triplets. That comes from the stick control book. You have to have the preliminary exercise, which is the interpretation that I give everybody, doing line 1. Line 2 on the does. Line 3. And you can move it around the drum set. Now, if you take, ouch, these drums are biting me tonight. If you take the syncopation book, let's do a simple guy. Come on. Yeah, let's do something really simple so everybody can follow. All right, if I'm on page 10, line 1 is 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I fill it in with the left hand to balance to the triplet, I'd have that. That was 4 measures. Now I can move it around the drum set. Have a lot of fun with it. Play 8s and back to the line. Repeat the line. That's a good thing to do. And that will evolve eventually on keeping track of the A-A-B-A. Turn the accents into R and unaccents into the left. There's no accents. You're talking about, I actually do the triplets. What page are you talking about? So I can get on the same page mentally. Because there is no accents here with the triplets. Unless you go in the back of the book. I'm going to quit the drums and play the violin. I see what you're talking about. It's the same thing as stick control book. You're talking about page 52 and on. If you look at that, you're accenting 1 and 3. So if you're accenting 1 and 3, well, I'm on page 52, guys. If I'm doing alternate strokes, ouch, what you have is this. And he repeats himself 4 times. So what he's doing here is it's better to do it in 4s. That's what you're doing. I see what you're doing. That's a John Ramsey kind of thing, I guess. It's a Berkeley thing. You know, the guys in Berkeley at one particular time, let me tell you the story about Berkeley, because I'm about to sign out. Berkeley was the premier school to go to at one particular point in time for music. And it's just like any other college. It's all political shit. But the staff were some great instructors and great players. And they were overwhelmed with students, which was good. They could make their living doing what they loved. Then, I don't know, because they turned over some things in Berkeley, it became shit, like shit. Everybody's teaching at Berkeley. You can teach at Berkeley, but you don't have enough students, so you got to be a shoe salesman. They're trying to sell you shoes during the lesson, or whatever they're doing. And that's pretty sad, because Berkeley was the ultimate school to go to at one particular time. Today, there's a school in New Jersey, William Patterson State College. All right, that is the premier school. They have some great instructors there. But anyway, thank you for your time, Mr. John. I hope you should come here more often. We're going to hang out with a lot of jazz. We're going to hang out with a lot of rudimental stuff, reading, doing 6/8 to 4/4, all that good stuff. Now tomorrow, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I would really, please, guy, was that the page you were talking about, Mr. John? Tomorrow, please, guys, get the rudimental drum solo, 150 rudimental solos, and we'll break it down, and I'll explain the level system. I don't know if John teaches at a high school or not, Jim. I don't know if that's what happens. But anyway, guys, what's this? You saw what awards, Jim? Where's that at? West Florence High School, South Carolina? All right, good. I have somebody coming Friday from North Carolina here, and I guess it's Virginia. Stacy, is that where you're coming from? Guys, please be safe when you come, man. You know, stay out of the cities. Take the highway. Seth is taking an airplane, which, you know, I don't know if that's cool or not. But anyway. Thank you, Robert. Anyway, listen. Tomorrow, please, 1 p.m., have the 150 rudimental solos. Everybody has the book that, you know, Jimmy sent me, I sent to you guys. Any questions? I have a headache and I got to change my snare drum head. Like I really have nothing better to do. Old dog, thank you for sending me a happy Father's Day. I sincerely appreciate it, and to everybody else who sent me a happy Father's Day. And a happy Father's Day to everybody who here is a father, or is going to be a future father, or someday a father. Fatherhood is a special place, so is motherhood, without a doubt. If there wasn't no mother, there'd be no fatherhood. Right, Stacy? But anyway, I always say, and you'll see, Stacy, when you come here, okay? Every man should have a daughter. Jim, thank you. All right, everybody, we'll see everybody tomorrow. Have a good night. And email me if you have any questions. You too, Mr. Green. Do you have my email? John, do you have my email? I think you do. Or I have your email. I'll send you some PDFs on this. Tim, wait, why don't you get into the yeah, oof. Why don't you get into the chat earlier and ask questions? Anyway, for the guys who are here, there's a special going on. If you become a paid-for member at my site, MattPatellaLiveLessons.com, I will send you a PDF of your choice of either the stick control book formulas or the syncopation formulas. Thank you, Jim. Good night, Mr. Green, Old Dog, Jim, Stacy, Robert, Paul. The other Paul it wasn't here today. Boys, good night. No questions? See everybody tomorrow, 1 p.m.